Welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is a trainer education, and we're going to discuss how to write training programs faster. Now, the key here is we're still going to make them good, and we're still going to make them personalized. So that's the goal: is how can we write good programming in a fast manner, but and have it still be personalized. So these are kind of they're opposing things usually. So most programming that's fast is not going to be personalized, and it's questionable if it's good. But that is typically what you're going to see out of most trainers is they'll just have everybody they work with do the same damn stuff, which is not a good idea. Now, if you market it as being kind of bulk programming, like 8 weeks to big buns or whatever, and people know that they're just getting an 8 week program the same as anybody else would get, then that's okay. But your cost should be very low for that. However, what unfortunately happens way too often, and it's from trainers who wouldn't be listening to this podcast, is they charge premium money for bullshit bulk programming. So I know coaches who do contest prep, and they'll charge $1,600 for a 16-week program, like $100 a week, and it's the same copy and pasted bullshit diet and training that they gave every other client. So they'll have like a bikini workout, and every client they work with who does bikini does the exact same 16-week prep program, exact same exercises, exact same sets and reps. Nothing changes. And yet they're charging $100 a week for that. That's absolute bullshit. So, and you'll have that happen, but that's what we want to try to avoid. And if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably because you want to try to do things the right way. Try to find that balance between how can I make enough money, to stay in business and live the lifestyle that I want, like being a trainer. But how can I do it in a kind of an ethical way? So how do I do it without taking advantage of people? So I've been personal training for money, getting paid to do it since I was 18. So it's been 17 years. And it's been my sole source of income the last, the 8 years here at the gym. The gym survives based on, obviously, membership, but the membership really just pays for the gym. So I kind of do my own personal training stuff for my personal money. So how I've been able to make a living at doing this is by trying to find that balance between charging for the time that I invest, but making sure I do a good quality work. And have I figured out the secret? Hell no. I'm always kind of trying to learn and grow with it as I can. But I wanted to share in this podcast what I've learned so far. So when I write programming for clients, if they're in-person clients, so I do in-person and online, in-person clients, they're just easier to write because you're more in touch with them, you're more in tune with them, you see them every week or even multiple times per week, and it just kind of flows easier. For my online clients, it is a little harder to write, so it's more time intensive. Meaning, like, I look back through the videos they send me to look at the form and technique they have, look for physical breakdowns in their lifts. So I don't make really as much money per hour that I invest in online clients at all compared to in-person clients. But the online clients, it's nice to have that extra source of revenue that kind of weathers the storm of the up and down of in-person clients. And then also, I really like my online people. So they're all very nice people, and it's fun to be able to help them if they're at a location or somewhere where in-person help isn't a good option for them. So enough of me rambling. So let's get into it. One of the things I think you would benefit as a trainer, and this would obviously be for anybody who writes their own programming, so you don't have to be a trainer. If you just write your own programming, hopefully this would be helpful too, but is to create a template for your workout structure that is based on your theories. And I'll explain that here in a second. But what it is it's a structure that has exercises in concepts in the order that you believe is appropriate, the volume that you believe is appropriate. It's kind of like you write a sample workout, okay? And then you take that structure and over time you tweak it a little bit. Maybe you need to invest a little more time into kind of like movement prep and warming up. So you add a few elements here or there, or maybe you're overdoing it, so you take a few elements out here or there. But you have then, like for your strength section, you find out maybe you tried to do this program that had 10 sets of 5, then you realize, holy shit, that takes forever. And by like set 6 I was dead. So you find out you didn't need that much volume. Or you might have, like, I do a couple warm-up sets, I go to one peak max effort set, and then I move on, and you find that you're not getting strength progress because you're not staying in the exercise long enough. So what it is you create this template, and then you tweak each element as you go. So I think what happens for trainers, unfortunately, is they don't have this kind of template or pre-structured program ready. They just willy-nilly try to pick exercises that make sense to them, quote unquote. But what happens is you have a good day where you're interested, you have a bad day where you're not that interested, something's going on in life, you're just trying to force it through, and your quality of programming can vary quite a bit, and then also the speed in which you can get it done varies quite a bit. So by having a pre-programmed structure, it ensures that you don't miss elements that are important, and it ensures more consistency in your programming. So what I want to go through first here is talk about individual workout. So if I wanted to create a good workout, and then we're going to talk about how to put them together as like a program, okay? So for me, I believe in a workout order being the first thing you do is you movement prep. You prepare the person for movement. Now that can look a million different ways, but I have one way that I start every client, which is we go through hip mobility movements. So we do stuff to stretch the glutes, hamstrings, adductors, quads, which is kind of like hip flexors too, and stuff that opens up the IT band. And they kind of go through this 8-minute routine of like PNF, which is flexing, like contracting release, contract release type stretches. And it works really well, it gets people moving. And as a person goes through that, we tweak it. So we would say is, okay, out of those stretches, did you find one or two that weren't very helpful? If they weren't, then we get rid of those. Maybe we'll replace them with more shoulder-based work or thoracic spine if we know the person needs more postural type work. But I start with something. I have it pre-scripted. I have all the links to the videos on YouTube, which is actually me teaching these stretches. So I have it pre-written, and that's where I start everyone, because pretty much everybody who ever started coming to me, they had hip movement issues. So if they just walked into the gym and we were going to start squatting, usually their hips were really tight, the hamstrings were really tight, their body just wasn't ready to go for squats. So I found out I had to get everybody that was coming through, we were pretty much doing hip stuff. So rather than me rewriting it or tweaking it or doing this or that, I found the exercises that I believe to be the best. I made videos for them on YouTube, and now I have it pre-written. So I copy and paste that when I have somebody coming in who's brand new. Okay? Then immediately as we go through the first day, if they have anything that might be different or need changed, we start changing it and tweaking it. But usually within a couple workouts, or if I'm doing like an online client where you write a program, say once a month, usually by the third month, we have everything kind of personalized to their needs, and then it's just small tweaks and changes from there. But rather than me rewriting that section all the time when it's going to come back to hip stretches anyhow, I might as well just make the hip stretch routine that I like and have everybody start there, okay? Then the next component, I think, after movement prep is going right into your strength-based stuff. So everyone needs to get stronger. Doesn't matter what the hell their goal is. Everyone needs to get stronger for longevity, for overall health. It has a ton of benefits for all kind of, for fat loss. So we've done a podcast in the past about how muscle damage and like kind of heavy resistance training can actually help you lose fat. So it actually helps you get leaner faster to do strength training than if you were to skip it, okay? And that's podcast 181, using muscle damage for fat loss. So you need to, even if the person is coming to you just to lose 30 pounds, you still need to focus on strength, okay? Then after strength, we do muscle manipulation, which is where if they want their muscles to grow, we do bodybuilding type stuff, which is creating like maximal muscle damage specific to where we need the growth. If they just want kind of overall toned shape, we still do bodybuilding stuff, but it's more general. We're not going to specify it to like just biceps or just triceps, and then we end with muscle cardio, which is kind of fat loss, burning up some calories, but we use our muscles while we're doing the cardio, and that gets us actually faster results for fat loss because you involve muscle damage. So it's another kind of like secret or trick to get greater fat loss without having to spend, forever on a treadmill, which wastes time. So that is podcast number 30, muscle cardio, how to lose fat without losing muscle. Okay. So none of that involves them walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes while we're just bullshitting the breeze, or I'm actually training somebody else, but I call it part of their 1 hour of training. So I've helped facilities revamp their training programming where they'll sell 1 hour training programs, but the first 30 minutes is the person just on a freaking piece of cardio equipment, which is stupid, absolutely stupid. Okay, and it's not appropriate to make them like to offer that as part of a training session. So that's not training. You're just having them walk on a treadmill. How they could have walked to the gym and got the same benefit. Okay, so but that's the structure. So every workout I have has these elements in them: movement prep, then strength, then muscle manipulation, then muscle cardio. Now, per person over time, we tweak all of those elements, and some of them get heightened, some of them get lessened. So, it's like there's just differences as we grow. But every program I have has that format, has that structure. So it makes it very easy for me to write, because I think in my head as I go, okay, movement prep, boom, 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 that's what they're going to do. Okay, strength, this is what they're going to do for strength today. Then muscle manipulation stuff, then muscle cardio, bam, done. So I can write it faster because I'm not guessing what's next or what order things should be in. It's just definitive. I already know it. Okay? Now, the individual elements there, so like the movement prep stuff, I make sure, like I said, address hips, and we often will address shoulders as well, but hips is kind of our first priority. And shoulders includes like thoracic spine mobility type stuff. So whether they need postural awareness, whether they need strengthening, whether they just need internal, external rotation increase, we kind of go through whatever their specific individual need is. Then we also add in specific work for weaknesses. So if they have weak hips, I include that in the movement prep. So like we said, if they have a weak thoracic spine for posture, we include that in the movement prep. So their movement prep includes something that focuses on hip mobility, something that focuses on shoulder mobility, and something that focuses on a unique individual weakness. So all of my movement prep has those elements in there. Boom, done. I don't have to guess. It's just I know that I have to address that. I find something for hips, put it in. Find something for shoulders, put it in. Find something for their known weakness, put it in. Done. Then for strength, muscle manipulation, and muscle cardio, like the rest of the workout, I think to myself is what is the biggest bang for the buck? So that's one of the themes I take as I write my workouts is say, okay, if I want to do strength, what is a strength movement for this person that can get the most elements involved? So I'm just giving a really dumb example, but it should hopefully make sense of what I'm talking about here. Is I have one client, and he has very, very, very weak hips. And his result of the weakness has made him very stiff, and he has a hard time getting to parallel on squats. So we'll actually typically do some type of box squat, and we typically do it wider stance than what would be his kind of normal body weight related squat. So by going down to a box, it allows him to have like security at the bottom, definitiveness at the bottom, so he doesn't, as he gets tired, he doesn't cheat his depth. And then also he can go down to that depth, kind of like sit onto the box, gather himself in tightness, and drive up out of the hole. So rather than him having to bounce out of like tight musculature that might throw him forward out of position, he can sit down onto the box, make sure he's in good position, and then stand up. So it actually heightens the degree of hip involvement, but it does so in a secure and safe way. Okay, so that's something that we just know for him. His strength is squats. That's the main movement we're going to do, and we're going to do box squats. So then I just try to think of a million ways of doing box squats. So we have box squats with a barbell. We have a safety squat bar. We have different camber bars. We have a Duffalo bar, which is like a buffalo kind of a bowed bar. We can do box squats on our belt squat machine. We can do box squats with kettlebells if we want to do them a little bit lighter that day, or dumbbells, like a goblet hold. So there's always these elements. There's a million types of ways. And then for all of those exercises, you can do them with bands from the top, bands from the bottom. You can do them with chains. So you can come up with 50 ways of doing a box squat very quickly when you start being creative. So I already know for that client, it's a box squat. Boom, done. I already know that. So I don't have to guess on what's the best thing to do. I already know, and I just plug that in every time we need to redo his workout. Okay? So it's always the biggest bang for the buck. What's the most important? And the reason why we like that for him is it works on strength for his lower body. If he has a spinal load of like a barbell on his back, we know we're going to get core. We know we're going to get posterior chain. And we know that it helps develop his hips, which is a known weakness. And we know it's a safer way to do squats than traditional like squats without like just to parallel on yourself and stand back up. Giving him that box we know is going to actually be safer. So that covers a whole bunch of stuff for me. So that I can count that as my heavy core work if he's strong enough that the squats are actually heavy. So he has to do core bracing for that to work well, right? So that's going to be our core work. I can add it in actual direct core work later in the workout if I have time, but if I don't have time, I already know it's in there. Okay. The other question I ask myself is, does this match their needs? So, for example, a clean and press is a really good way to have the biggest bang for your buck. If you take a bar from the floor, drive with your legs, pull with your upper back, get the bar to your chest, and then drive with your legs and push with your arms and shoulders to get the bar over your head. That's a clean and press. That gets damn near every muscle in the body, okay? Biggest bang for your buck. But am I going to have a 60-year-old lady who's coming in for strength and to fight off arthritis do freaking barbell clean and presses? Hell no. So you have to have the biggest bang for the buck balanced with what matches their needs. So those are the two things I just think through when I write like strength-based exercises, when I select which ones we want to use for their muscle manipulation, like whether it's, muscle building, muscle cardio, muscle endurance, kind of whatever we want to do. So I think, is it biggest bang for the buck and does it match their needs? Same thing with muscle cardio, okay? So I might have somebody who, let's say, let's go here with, let's battle ropes. We have battle ropes in our gym. So, which is like a big heavy rope. You can kind of do upper body movements, which works your shoulders, and it can work your core, but that's arguable whether it's really that challenging or not. It's mostly just shoulders and kind of like upper back and like cardio. But by the time I set that up, by the time I tear it down, by the time we get into it, does that cover everything that I need for them to cover? So that covers muscular endurance of the upper body, but it doesn't really cover muscular endurance of the lower body. So in order to do that, maybe I'll superset them doing battle ropes with like a lightweighted squat or bodyweight squats or jump squats or, like explosive step ups. But I have to make sure that I get everything I need in there. So if I just do an upper body exercise and that's all I use for my muscle cardio, I'm not really getting that lower body element. So I have to make sure if I want a full body element that I have a full body stimulus, okay? Now, so that's my individual, every workout has to have something for movement prep, something for strength, something for muscle manipulation, something for muscle cardio. That is the structure that I know I'm going to use. Now we ask ourselves is, okay, what if they're doing a full body workout versus an upper body workout versus a lower body workout? So full body, I know I always have to have something as a squat, a hinge, a push, a pull, and then I often will try to add some type of core work in the form of like a carry or functional core, like strongman style training. But there's something for squat, which is a lower body exercise focused around a knee bend. There's something for a hinge, which is a lower body exercise focused around a hip bend. We have something for push, which is your chest, front, shoulders, and tricep muscles. We have something for pull, which is your back, biceps, and back of the shoulders. So we cover our full body, all the functions we need the body to do in those 4 movements: squat, hinge, push, pull. So when I write a workout, I make sure I have those 4 elements included if it's a full body workout. So we'll do movement prep, and we already said movement prep is focused on hips and shoulders. Boom, full body, done. For strength, it depends on how often I train that person. If they're only doing 1 workout a week, which is not advisable, you would have to do strength for lower body, strength for a push, and strength for a pull. So that way you would cover both sides of the upper body, the front and the back, okay? Now, that's going to be a lot to kind of put in there. So if they're training a couple times a week, one of them can be a full body with a leg focus as the strength. The other one could be full body with the upper body as the focus for the strength. So for your muscle manipulation, your muscle cardio, you might still do full body movements, but your strength is going to be divided up into one time being lower body, one time being upper body. If they train 3 times a week, you can do push-pull legs. So their lower body is going to be one of the workouts, push muscles is going to be the strength focus for the other workout, and pull muscles will be the strength focus for the third workout. So you have to kind of create your formats. So I might have a format, a template, for full body once per week. Then I'll have full body twice per week, full body 3 times per week. Those are my templates, okay? Upper body is push, pull, and usually what we do is we change the planes of motion. So we'll have a pull at a horizontal plane, a push at a horizontal plane. Then we have a pull at a vertical plane and a push at a vertical plane. So basically that's like a chest press with a row, and then we'll have an overhead press with a pull up or pull down, okay? I don't typically do individual arm stuff unless you're working with a bodybuilder, okay, or an aesthetic athlete who needs to balance out their arms. So for general population, most people, when you do push exercises, you use your triceps. When you do pull exercises, you use your biceps. Done, okay? Now for lower body, if they're only doing lower body, no upper body involved, we do something for the hips in terms of like their warm-up and whatnot, which we know is already included in our warm-up. We do a strength exercise for either squat or hinge. So which is either knee bended exercise or a hip bending exercise. Then we pair that with the opposite. So they might do heavy time under tension. So we know strength is 20 seconds or less. Okay, set to 20 seconds or less. They're going to do that for squat. And then maybe I'll superset that with a hinge exercise that's done at a longer time under tension. If the person's strong enough and they have enough fitness, we can do strength for both. Okay, it depends on the person. So, but that's what my lower body workouts include. They include something for hips. We do a strength for either the squat or the hinge. Then we do another movement for the hinge or the squat, kind of whichever one you didn't do the strength for. Then I'm always make sure I have some kind of unilateral component where it's one leg versus the other leg. So walking lunges, sliding lunges, single leg stiff leg deadlifts, step ups, things where you have one leg at a time. So that way it works on balancing strength from side to side, works on small muscles involved in balance. So those are the templates you're going to have. Is you're already going to have, okay, lower body workout once a week versus twice a week, and you could even do a triple if you want, like a 3 times a week. But you're going to have those structures. Now, if you don't have any of these structures, you have no freaking clue how to create them. We have them. However, I will charge you for those because there's time invested into them. And when I send them to trainers, I will specifically ask how you're going to use them, and I will help you personalize them to your client needs. So we do trainer consultations. So if you like the idea of this and you want to be able to write programs really fast, okay, but whenever I'm telling you about these templates, you're like, I can't really picture them. Shoot me an email. I can send you like a sample 1 or 2. And then if you want me to help you personalize your templates to your beliefs, to your clients, to where you only have to have, maybe for your type of clientele, you only have to have 4 templates you have to work through. That's it. And then every time you write a workout, you pick one of those 4, you substitute in the exercises, boom, 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 you're done. Super fast. Okay? So if you want that, shoot us an email, brutalironjim@gmail.com, and I'll help you. But this is what we do. Like when I do this for other trainers, I go through, see their type of clientele. We figure out what's the frequency in which they train most of their clients. What's the focal points? Is it full body, half body, upper, lower? And we kind of figure out the templates. We create what's needed based for their theories and also for their equipment. Okay? So then that tells us what is in an individual workout. Okay, the structure that we will use for an individual workout. What's the order of the things in the workout? And then what's our focus of the things? What are the things? So if I'm doing full body, then I know I have that squat, hinge, push, pull. Okay, if I'm doing upper body, I know it's a push, pull, and I'm separating out horizontal and vertical. If it's lower body, I know I got to do something for hip mobility, hip strength. I do a strength for squat or hinge. I do an accessory of a hinge or a squat, the opposing one, and I do a unilateral component. Done. Okay, that's it. Now, when you write this into a whole program, so when you now know how to put together a single really good workout, okay, but how do you kind of put this in the bigger picture? Is we have these pre-planned structures, and they're based on your rules, like we just talked. Okay, all the things we just talked about. So what you want to then do is make sure you have pre-written directions. So write a little description for how people are supposed to warm up. That can be the same for every damn client. Okay, so you just write that in. You have a little thing, that blurb that says how to select the right weight. So I actually have something in my programs that tells them how do they know if they selected the right weight. Okay, and that's the same for everybody. Then I have pre-scripted ways for them to make weekly progressions. So typically we'll do our programs at 4 weeks at a time. I'll explain that as a second later on here. But so week 1, they try the exercises based on the sets and reps given. Week 2, we ask them to improve in some way. They have to stay within the rep range or time frame given to them, okay, for the working sets. But they can either add weight if they were at the top of the range, Or they can stay the same weight and try to get extra reps, even using rest pause technique if they need to on weeks 2 through 3 and 4. Okay. So I explain to them what rest pause is. I explain to them how to know to move up in weight, how to know if they need to stay at the same weight. It's all pre-written. It's all scripted. It's just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Because that's pretty much the same for everybody. Everybody's going to need to warm up. And unless they do have a special scenario or special injury or issue, like in those cases, I will tweak it. But for the most part, you're never going to really need to tweak those. So they're written, and I can just copy and paste them so we don't have to rewrite the damn things a million times over a day. So then, when personalizing the exercises, I also include description videos. So if it's something that I haven't taught that client or we haven't covered in a while, I send a video link connected to YouTube video. Now, I have my favorite sources for like ones that I'll use commonly as my subscriptions on YouTube. So I can go to those pages very quickly, okay? And I know that they're reliable. I know that they're pretty good descriptions. If I can't find videos I like, I make my own video. And everybody can do this, okay? As a trainer, it's good to have a presence in social media. Make your own videos, send the links to your own damn videos, okay? That makes you look very authoritative. It makes you look like knowledgeable, like you know what you're doing, okay? So make sure you send videos if you don't think they might know what the exercise is. Do not leave people at a gym reading off a piece of paper and not knowing what the hell it is. I see this happen in our gym. We have about a 100-member gym. I do not train everybody in the gym. I don't write programming for everybody in the gym. So sometimes I'll work with other trainers or other programmers. And it's not uncommon, unfortunately, for somebody to come in and they say, oh, my trainer wrote this, and this exercise. Can you tell me what it is? Of course, I'm going to tell them, but in my mind, I'm like, what the hell didn't your trainer tell you? Why the hell did they give you an exercise that you don't know how to do? And they didn't give you any video for it? That trainer's an asshole, okay? So don't work with trainers who just write random piece of paper and hand it to you. That means they don't give a shit, okay? Your trainer, if they're asking you to do an exercise you've never done before, it should have a video description. It should have a verbal, like written description. There should be some information to help you. If it just says such and such exercise, like one person had a program, they were supposed to do reverse banded squats, 100% 3x5. That's what was written on the program. They had never done reverse banded squats before. They had no clue how to figure out percentages. And they didn't even know if it was the sets was the first number or the reps was the first number. And that trainer charged them money for that program. That trainer is an asshole. They're lazy. Okay? Or they're ridiculously unaware, but I doubt that's true, is they just copy and paste it from the last program they wrote, and I know because I can see everybody they work with does the same damn exercises, so which is ridiculous. But that's what people are paying for, and people don't, I guess they don't know any better, unfortunately. But you'll see that happen all the time. So if you write an exercise for your clients, make sure they know what the hell, like how to do it. So include a video, include some descriptions, okay? It doesn't take that long, okay? The next thing we have is with that pre-written format you have, you just switch out individual work like exercises as needed. So as you learn each individual, like say week 1 you had them do barbell bench, and you noticed, oh man, they're kind of like bouncing it off their chest. So program 1, say like the first month they're doing barbell bench, and you notice they're bouncing it off their chest. So maybe month 2 you have them do paused presses, and that helps them get better at pausing. But then all of a sudden, maybe, they're pausing, but they're losing their arch. So month 3, you have them do paused off the chest presses. So they actually bring the bar down. They try to hold the bar about a half inch above their chest. And you tell them that the goal is to maintain their arch while the bar is paused in midair. So that's all you do is per month, you update the exercises based on whatever weakness you saw the person display the previous month. So I already know where bench fits into my workout. I already know how many sets and reps it's typically like good. So let's say, for example, you have them do 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps. That's a pretty good strength-based volume, okay, for most people. So month 1 is regular barbell bench, 5 sets for 3x5. And each week of the month, they try to move up. Either if they were at the top of the rep range, they add weight and try to make it to the bottom of the rep range. If they were previously at the bottom of the rep range, they keep the same weight, and they try to do rest pause if they can to try to add more reps this week. But that's it, okay? That's the first month progression. Then, like we said, month 2, maybe you switch out the bench for a different style of bench pressing based on their weakness. Maybe month 3, all of a sudden, they don't really like benching very much. They're not really needed. They're not a powerlifting client. Maybe you switch